Welcome back to another episode of NFL News on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host, Terry, and today talking mostly about Deshaun Watson and then also Mitch Trubisky, who finally signed today. So, Deshaun Watson, very, very honest up front. I'm using this. I wouldn't say I'm using this. The situation with Deshaun Watson is a good opportunity to get on the soapbox and talk about issues that is important. Like, I'm not ever going to be one of those people that are like, I keep the politics out. Politics is life. You can't keep it out. You can't ignore it. It's our life. And so, I'll talk about the situation, but I'll be upfront. It's definitely an issue that I find disturbing, whenever things like this pop up. So, if you don't know, to catch you up, Deshaun Watson has multiple suits coming against him. These are civil suits, not criminal suits. And so he's being sued by multiple people, but this stems from a one woman that came out first with this suit against him because of inappropriate conduct, I should say, during the massage. So, as the story is alleged, she said that, Deshaun Watson, I believe, messaged her on Instagram, and, said that he was interested in setting up a session. They did. He came to her house, or he came to, I believe he came to her place. And either way, during the massage, she mentioned that he said, focus on this area. He exposed himself. He, made it sexual, and she was uncomfortable. She stopped it, blah, blah, blah. Now, further from that, she claimed that he said as he was leaving, I know you got a reputation that you don't want anybody to mess with, just like I don't want anybody to mess with mine, or, I would hate for somebody to mess with mine. So there's that. She did claim that other players reached out to her through Instagram trying to set up sessions and saying that Big D sent them. And then she also claimed that he reached out through text and apologized sometime after that situation. So that is at least the main suit. And then there's other people alleging that they had similar experiences. So right now, Deshaun Watson is obviously probably going to stay quiet until his legal team puts out a statement, and they have to go, through the procedures of that. Obviously, this is happening at a time that a lot of people feel like is, I would say, pretty crucial for the Texans. If you listen to some other people, they tell you that there was no situation happening with Deshaun Watson despite his request. But this might change things. And so obviously there's a political side, there's a football side to it as well. I mean, on the football side, I do think that this does change things. Now, do I think the Texans all of a sudden want to dump Deshaun Watson? No. But I do think they might, especially because whenever these things happen, they have more intel than we do. Some people think like the team follows along with us. They do not. They have many connections in the NFL, so they are going to know. They're going to know what's going on as far as the validity of these statements and how bad this could potentially be. And so, could they potentially be like less, into Deshaun Watson? Absolutely. I think so. Will that change the price for other teams? I definitely think so, because now, I mean, just like the Texans, if you got information that this could be legit, not only are you talking about the perception and the PR and all that, but you're talking about this is the actual type of human being you're getting. Now, a lot of people point at the NFL for different things and different teams and owner. It's a lot of layers to it. Yes, there are owners that are okay with that. Yes, there are coaches that are okay with that. Yes, there's GMs, there's teammates, but not, it's not a blanket statement. There's going to be different layers. And so I'm assuming you got to find a team where everybody's comfortable with that type of information and will take on Deshaun Watson because of his talent. But I would have to believe some people have soured a little bit. I mean, it's hard to think that grown men with daughters are going to justify bringing in this guy if you know that this stuff is for real. And so, but they might. So I do think the taste for Deshaun's a little soured, not to the point where he's like off the list, but I don't think people are going to back up the same truck that they did for him. Not even if they didn't change their mind, the perception has changed. Just like when the perception was, there's no way that Watson is staying here, and everybody wanted to come make an offer. And then they realized the truth is that they're not trading him. Now that the perception is, okay, this guy isn't as valuable, so I'm not going to offer you something that's valuable. Now there could still turn into a bidding war, and then people can, bid it out. But I do think this changes the entry point of the conversation a little bit. And I do think this changes how willing the Texans might be to engage. So because they might just not want that headache. And so, yes, dealing with a disgruntled player is one thing. Dealing with a disgruntled player who potentially is into some sexual abuse and manipulation, that's a whole different thing. So there's all that part of it. I don't think this is going to turn into a trade tomorrow, because I think people need to probably find more information. But I do think this changes the conversations. But it was a little disheartening to see. Now, I know it's the internet, but still, like, these are people. It's disheartening to see people's reaction to this stuff. Like, I don't know. Humans sometimes, they never stop shocking me. And so, when you're talking about people like, this is the Houston Texans trying to ruin his reputation. This is all, by the Houston Texans. Or you talking about, these people or this person wants to pop up now that he's trying to get traded, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, getting traded don't mean more money. He signed a fat contract. That probably would have been the time if you was just chasing that. But even if all those things, the circumstances are kind of what they are, even with all that, to sit here and accuse somebody of just outwardly lying about it, and dismissing their story, is bothersome. And not only that, but then to say that the team was trying to sabotage his reputation, so like to change the trade market, that first of all, again, that would bring you less in return for Deshaun Watson. So damaging his reputation ain't gonna help you in the trade. It's gonna hurt you. As far as damaging so that he can't be traded, I mean, why would you do something like this? That it's just ridiculous in the beginning. But really what bothers me is these people just talking about, gold diggers lying. Like, that stuff happens, but then to sit here and just dismiss somebody out of hand is ridiculous. I always talk about better Bears fans on my channel, but I talk about all types of stuff, and it's all to educate and to grow. And so stuff like this bothers me, man. It really bothers me. And I know, like, the simplified version of believe women triggers people, but the sentiment makes sense to me, and I 100% agree with it. Like, it's okay to believe the story. Like, you don't have to be on the extreme of dismissing somebody, and you don't have to be on the extreme of only believing what they say. You could allow the possibility for both to be true and see what happens. So the ugliness is ridiculous, man. It's sick to see some of that. But if you just take the time to read what is being said or, accused, first of all, it's not hard to prove or disprove this. The accusation she made can very easily be proved. And so to sit here and say that somebody just came out of nowhere, lied on him to mess up his trade stuff, I don't think you actually looking at the actual story. And then, of course, you got multiple people that are now coming out as well. And so, typically with people who have these types of issues, it's a pattern. It's not something that happens one time. It's a pattern. And so, again, the stuff that's being put out there is very easy to prove. So we will see, I think pretty definitively what happens. And so, this is a civil case. They tried to settle out of court. He said no. And so now they're going to court. But even if they settle or he loses and pays the money, people going to move on. But to me, I think, I don't think it changes everybody on a mass level, but I do think this changed the minds about some people who definitely had a completely different assumption about Deshaun Watson up until this point. So there's that. After that, Mitch Trubisky signs with the Mitch Trubisky, formerly of Chicago Bears, signs with Buffalo Bills. This is not a Bears episode because he's not a Bears player no more. And so what's funny to me, I mean, this is rich with storylines, but what's funny to me is all these people, Bears fans talking and non-Bears fans talking about how Trubisky was a better option. Pretty sure the Bears was in a bid between another team for Andy Dalton. Pretty sure the Cowboys paid him pretty good money last year to be a backup. And Mitch, however, where was his market? I mean, up until not too long ago, the man wasn't even on the team. So to sit here and act like he's some great asset is ridiculous. And now when he does sign, he doesn't even sign for a team to be a starter. He is a complete backup. And so I just think it is very funny and interesting. Now I do think it's an interesting place that he goes to because you got a guy who, while not the exact same, was a little similar to Trubisky, but completely changed up his style. And obviously they don't plan on having Trubisky on the field, but maybe he could learn from the offensive coordinator, who I thought did an excellent job and probably would have been a head coach. But he gets to learn from him. He gets to learn from the discipline of Sean McDermott. And he gets to learn from Josh Allen and be in that quarterback room. So I think that is interesting on a lot of levels, and we'll see what that means. It's a 1-year deal. But yeah, Trubisky gets a 1-year deal, and he gets it to a team that has no intention of him playing. So while everybody's acting like Trubisky was some great ascending product, obviously the NFL don't agree with y'all. So there's that. So that's it for me. Go down comment section. Let me know what you think. Share around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.